So I'll be showing off the HTTP data connector. We've actually had an HTTP data connector for quite a while now, but in the latest update, we've improved its capabilities. And so I'll be demonstrating the new functionality we have for the HTTP data connector and what it might be useful for. Previously, we've had the ability to have Spice point to a static file like a CSV or Parquet file and load that as a structured data set. That's quite limited because it only supports basically single files and it's relatively static. You can update the file in place, but aside from that, it's not very dynamic. Some of our customers have requested more dynamic capabilities, like working with RESTful APIs. And so that's one of the things that we've just announced in 1.9 and improved in 1.10 is this new support for dynamic APIs and RESTful services. The way you do it is you configure the base path to your RESTful API, and then use these field paths, request path, request query, and request body to do dynamic requests using regular SQL, which is quite cool. And then Spice will execute those requests in the background, and it will return the results in a SQL query, which then you can use some of our JSON functions to do some more processing on those requests if you need to. There's some extra controls in here for you need to specifically enable if you want to use them. By default, Spice won't allow you to do some of these filters unless you explicitly enable it. So here I've got my Spice pod where I've got two data sets. I'm connecting over to a API that gives data about TV shows. I've got one data set which gives me information about the shows themselves, and then I've got a second data set which I've connected to that will allow me to do some search on people that show up within those shows. So I'll go ahead and run Spice using the Spice pod. Spice is loaded, and then I'll go over to my SQL REPL to perform some queries. The first query I'll show is a very simple one that will get some basic information about a show. So here I'm requesting information from this TV API, and here I'm specifying the request path to be shows 82. So it will dynamically construct based on the base path that we configured in the Spice pod. It'll add this and then actually do the query. And then on the content column that's returned, that returns the actual content that the API itself returns. And then we can do some processing. So we expect the name, the language, and the status. If I do this, we'll see that this is Game of Thrones English and that it's ended. I can actually go and change this to shows 83 and see what show that is, The Simpsons. Same thing for 84. And so just using SQL, I'm able to do these kind of dynamic requests to backend APIs and get the responses back. So that's cool, but we can also do a bit more advanced functionality with joining between people and this is doing a search on people. We're using request query, and so we can actually pass in different filters for request queries for Michael and Luke. This will actually do two separate requests to this API. It'll do one request where search people and then attach the query where Michael, and then it'll do a second request and attach it to where query Luke. It'll join those two requests together to actually give me the response. And then I can order it by score and see that these are the results for people named Michael and Luke that have showed up in shows. And so that's a quick overview of using the new HTTP dynamic filter functionality that we've added in Spice. This opens up a lot more capabilities, but you do have to configure Spice to tell it which path you want to allow it to be queried from.